I'm Turk Strongman at Thuranki Ramacharaka. Thank you for selecting this video. Third in the series, I believe it's the third one. Immediately following the story, Lost World New Bones, in this playlist, overall called, what is it? High Order Thinking in Mystical Narrative. All right. I introduced our subject. I introduced our venture here in the first video. The second one, again, had the story itself, the mystical narrative in question. From here on will be my commentary on it. But initially, just right out of the gate here, I think it'd be a good idea to define our terms and what we're doing more clearly. Our terms are high order thinking and mystical narrative. So what do we mean? As I've indicated elsewhere, and before here in this playlist, as I recall in the first video, by high order thinking, I mean, number one, high order thinking methods, or the components of high order thinking. What can you name some high order thinking ways to engage in high order thinking? Okay, yeah, I can. We're talking about conceptual thinking, abstract thinking, creative thinking, metaphorical thinking. There you go. It's not simple, straightforward thinking. It's not low-order thinking. You know, like the door is open. That's pretty darn clear. There are no layers to have to peel back. You don't have to create thoughts in order to figure it out. It's not a metaphor. It's not conceptual thinking. It's talking about something out here in the world, not some concept. It's not an abstraction. It's a very concrete affair. Low order thinking. Okay. Then there's what I mean here by high order thinking, right? There's a second thing. High order thought content. In other words, what are you thinking about? Well, I'm talking about esoteric knowledge, wisdom teachings, occult knowledge, essential belief patterns among humanity that rank as occult or esoteric. That's what I'm talking about. Spiritual talk could, if it's like of the mystical nature, in other words, like what monks might talk about as opposed to the congregation of the religion, but the monks, the guru, the yogis, the whatevers, Okay. The magicians. The magi. Okay. I think we got it, right? So, what we're going to find here in the story as we go through, and I give my commentary on it bit by bit, we're going to run into both these things. The capacity, or the mental capacities that are called high order thinking, as well as thought content in the story, okay? And some of this is going to have to just necessarily blend into what I was thinking as I was writing, or how this came about, all right? There's going to be some talk about that, but I'm not here. This is not a literary analysis, or this is not a writing workshop, put it that. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. This isn't how the story was written. That's not what this is about. But it'll come in. So it'll be there. Some of that will be there. It's just part of what we are after. Okay? And what's the other term? Mystical narrative. What's a narrative? We'll get to mystical once we figure out what narrative is. What is a narrative? It tells a story. That's it. It's just telling a story. Laying out events that happened, verbally. Telling what happened. All right? That's a narrative. That's it. Mystical. What's mystical? That's a tough one here, isn't it? I assume you know what it is, because you're here on my channel. But let's say you're not quite sure. All right, well, let's clear that up. By the way, There are three words, right? Mythical, mystical, and mysterious. Mystery. We're only dealing with one of those here. But one of the others will come into play a little bit. That's mystery. There's a little mystery about things that are mystical, right? Just kind of like comes with it by accident. Well, in the story, yes, there will be certain things that are left a mystery for a little while because it's a story of an event. It's a narrative, right? And there are two characters in it, three, counting the dog, and two characters. One's telling the story to the other. And you should already know this because by now, you're in video number 3 in this playlist. Video number 2 is the story itself. So let's just say right now, if you haven't actually listened to that video, at least listened to it, if not looked at it, okay, for the story, and it's only the story, it starts right off with the first word of the story and it ends with the last word, so no other jabber, all right? It's the story. It's our mystical narrative here. If you haven't done that, then do it now, so you know what the heck we're talking about. All right? And do it all the way through. It's 48 and a half minutes long. All the way through. There are reasons for that here. All right? I mean, we're going to have a commentary about this. You have to have gone through the story the whole way through one time. At least one time. Beginning to end. All right? There's a whole thing that takes place. There's a whole mood. Right? Okay. We'll get to that mood here in a second, too. All right. Then come back here and listen to the rest of this now. Okay, we're back. Mystical. Not mythical. Not like fantasy story. Mythology. No monsters that fly in the sky, or dragons, anything, no. Mystical. And not mystery. Except for, like I said, there is a bit of mystery just inherently in the story because one of the main characters might not know what something is at first. And it's a mystery to him. Therefore, it's a mystery to the audience. If the story is told in the sequence in which things happen. A little mystery is par for the course, right? But that's not what this is about. This is mystical. Mystical means occult, esoteric, hidden, hidden from plain sight. So it's mystical narrative. Okay. So there is that high order thought content in it. That's where it comes in the mystical nature of the story. The concepts that are used. There are many layers of it, in fact, in this story. That's why I've chosen this story. Just so happens to be one I wrote. Just so happens. Seriously. It's a good story for this kind of analysis. And what's this for you here on this channel? Well, if you follow along, and it is a cool story. And if you follow along with the commentary, you'll be getting more exposure to high-order thinking and high-order thought content. Okay, that's the reason. These things should be of interest to you if you are interested in being able to apply such mental, capacities to your own personal evolvement, to your own mystical nature, to your own personal improvement, self-mastery, mastery of self by self, mental discipline, recognition and realization and manifestation of true selfhood in this world of consciousness hijacking and perception deception. That's the reason for this, okay? Now, mystical narrative. Well, one of the first things that needed to be done with the story, early in the story, is to create, with word choices and events, names of characters, etc., with whatever possible, create an atmosphere or mood of expectation in the audience that this is a mystical narrative and there is mysticalness to come and probably some high order thinking involved. That had to be established and set, like just an atmosphere, a mood, as early as possible in the story. And we'll find out how that happens in the next video. Thumb up, share, subscribe, get notified, comment, courteous. I'm Turk Strawman. This is Thrawn Crew. I'm a Traka. Be well. See you in the next video.